Good afternoon, everyone. We'll call to order the City of Murfreesboro Board of Zoning Appeals regular meeting for November 22nd, 2021. First item on our agenda is a determination of a quorum with all members of the board present. We do have a quorum today. Next item is a consideration of minutes. We had two meetings of minutes here that were supplied. First, we'll take the regular meeting from August 25th, 2021. Those were supplied to the board members. Are there any changes necessary to those? And those will stand as approved. And then there were minutes from the September 22nd meeting, 2021. Any changes necessary to those? Hearing none, those will stand approved as well. One item of new business today, special use permit, application Z21026. By North Shore Medical Labs, requesting a special use permit to operate a temporary outdoor vending establishment, in this case a mobile COVID-19 testing site, in a commercial highway zone. This is for property located at 1630 South Church Street. Mr. Aguilera, I believe you're going to present this to us.
Yes, thank you, Chair Young. Today we're here for your review and consideration for a special use permit by Bray Ullman with North Shores Medical Labs for a special use permit to operate a temporary outdoor vending for a mobile COVID-19 testing site in the parking lot of the South Church Street Center at 1630 South Church Street. The subject property is zoned commercial highway and is surrounded by light industrial zoning. The request is to operate for 70 days, the start date being November 23rd, 2021, and will conclude on January 1st, 2022. Well, they will provide a service to people who wish to be tested for COVID-19, and they will offer this service from 8 to 5 p.m. Monday through Sunday, and will have employees present at the site from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Their operations will include a tent and van used for storage of testing samples, and as you can see right here in the map, they're going to be located in this lot, in particular the southwest corner parking lot of the center. And abiding by the City of Murfreesboro zoning ordinance, we have asked the applicant to submit evidence on how they intend to meet the standards of the special use permit, and especially for temporary outdoor vending, and to ensure that there will be no impact to the immediate area, to the site, or the operations of the center. Staff has reviewed these standards both for the general applicability and for the temporary vendor, and we see no conflicts with this. We want to point out one standard in particular, though, that the lease goes for between October to April. This special use permit will only be approved between, again, as the stated date, between November 23rd to January 31st, 2022. So that will be something that they will have to come through and, again, apply for another special use permit and to go through the review process again. So again, this is only going to be for November 23rd, 2021 and to January 31st, 2022. And again, in reviewing these standards for it, staff does not find any kind of negative impact to the area, and that per the standards of the Murfreesboro City Ordinance, we ask that it be approved in accordance with Section 9, Subsection B, conditions on special uses, and be conditionally approved with the following comments. And I'll scroll to these two so that they can be viewed as well. We ask for one, the special use permit approval is for this special use permit to operate a temporary outdoor mobile testing site for COVID-19 at 1630 South Church Street from November 23rd, 2021 through January 1st, 2022. That this temporary vendor use COVID-19 test collection shall not start operations until the temporary vending site has passed inspection and received approval from the Murfreesboro Building and Codes and Murfreesboro Planning Department. A certificate authorizing the operation will be granted upon completion of all inspections by the Planning Department. Prior to the start of any testing or collection operations, the applicant shall contact Building and Codes Department to provide a $500 cleaning deposit, apply for a sign permit for temporary signage, and apply for a tent permit and electrical permit for their generator. That they will also receive, conditionally approved for their approval for the COVID testing site to be, again, valid between November 23rd, 21 through January 1st, 2022, and that on January 31st, 2022, at the end of business day, all operations shall cease, and all trash, tent, and generator must be removed by the end of business day, February 5th, 2022. I am here for any questions if you have any, and the applicant, I believe, is here as well.
Thank you. Any questions for?
I guess just point of information, Mr. Chairman, it looks like that lease actually has a termination date of April 30th of 2021, not 2022. It's on the lease term and on section 1, and both it has April 30th, 2021, for whatever that's worth.
Sorry, that's a typo. I will go back and fix that.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
State your name for the record, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Bray Ullman with North Shore Medical Labs.
Thank you. Did you mention that there was, at the end of February, they could apply for another permit?
That is correct, Chair Jones. They would have to go through the process again because the City of Murfreesboro zoning ordinance allows only 70 days within a 12-month period. They would have to reapply and go through the process again, which means that we would have to make sure that we have to review the site, review their operations to make sure there's not going to be any kind of impact to the center or to traffic flow or safety such as that. So they could apply, but it had to go through the same process.
So it doesn't
Okay.
matter what that 12-month period is? Like, you could do like those 70 days back to back, but it would apply for like year 2021, and then I guess I was confused about that as well, because within a 6-month period, it seems difficult to be able to do 70 days, to do it again, if we limit it 70 days to every 12-month period. How is that applied?
Just for a point of clarification, the zoning ordinance for temporary vendors, they're allowed to operate 70 days maximum within a 12-month period. It's not a calendar year period. So what we often see are the fireworks stands, and they basically operate for 2 weeks at a time, so significantly less than those 70 days, and then they can operate again, say, for New Year's Eve. So there's 2 times per year. But we've also had other temporary vendors for snow cones and fruit sales, and they operate 70 days, consecutive days, and then they come back the following year to do it again in the summer. So in this particular case, it's not really a seasonal request, but something that they do want to operate. However, we are limited by our zoning ordinance, which is a maximum of 70 days. They could come back and reapply, and they would be able to have an administrative review and approval, so staff level review and approval, but they would not be able to start until that following 1-year period, another 70 days. So they could break it up like 30 days, take a break, and then another 30 days, but what they've asked for were consecutive days to set up this operation.
But they wouldn't, like, it wouldn't necessarily be within this 6-month lease that they would be able to do another 70 days.
Their lease provides them more time than we're allowed to approve for.
Right. That's what I was confused about, was that it sounded like they would be able to apply and then come back again, as though like the 70
No.
days would be applied to the previous year, and then they could get another, like 140 days, but not be able to do it again for another year. So I just wanted to make sure I understood how we use those.
Yeah. So the applicant may need to amend her lease to make sure, one, that it's for 2022, so it has the correct dates in it, and that you're not leasing or paying for more days than we're allowed to grant you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, just so when this first permit expires January 31st, and you mentioned they might come back for another, when would be the first day under the second approval or administrative? Is that back to November 23rd?
November 23rd would be the soonest, yes, sir.
I knew we limited those days, just didn't mention they would come right back and do it. That's what
Yeah, that is
that's what
just,
threw me. Okay.
I didn't think we'd ever approved something
Yeah, I
like that
remember
before.
seeing one of those.
So do you understand, does the applicant understand that?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Glad you understand.
All right. Any further questions for staff or the applicant?
So I got one, and I don't know that it matters, but I'm going to ask it anyway. It says, we have access to 2 restrooms located on the second floor of the building for our employees. So as part of any application, does the access to a restroom have to apply to the patrons also, or is it just employees, or does it really matter?
It would have to be open to the public, so patrons and employees.
They can use the restroom if they need to. Generally, they're in and out in about 5 minutes, so we haven't had anybody that needs to use the restroom just yet. But if they need to, it's available.
Okay. I was just making sure of the way this was worded.
Thank you. Any further questions? Thank you both.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. At this time, we'll conduct a public hearing. If there's anyone present wishing to speak for or against this application, if you'd come forward, give us your name and address, and provide us any comments you may have. Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and open the floor for any further discussion or a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the request. It appears from the information provided that there's no adverse effects on any of the adjacent properties, and the distemper use shouldn't interfere with any other adjacent properties, should be adequately served by public facilities, and that it's not going to result in any damage, loss, or destruction of other features that are of historic, scenic, or natural importance, and that this use complies, appears, with the standards imposed under our zoning ordinance, with the exception of with the notice of the amount of days that it's able to operate in the city. So with that, I'd make the recommendation movement for approval, subject to those conditions that's stated by staff.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? There are none. That application's been approved. Next item on our agenda, staff reports and other business.
I have none for today. Thank
Have
you.
none. All right. Appreciate everybody's time. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
We
Happy
adjourn.
Thanksgiving.
We will adjourn.